This game is not designed for children. There's violence, drugs, and creepy monsters. However, it's also fun, easy to pick up, and quick to learn. So, could a child play The Binding of Isaac? First of all, for the purposes of this experiment, I want to go to the lower end of a child, around 5 to 8 years old, which should be when you start getting to grips with games. That's not the entire age range of a child, but I think a 12-year-old is going to be way more understanding compared to a 6-year-old. Usually, at least. Fun fact, this is also the age of Isaac apparently, so it's 100% canon to play like this. Now, there is a reason I'm making this video, and that's because I was that child playing Isaac. This video is actually about me, let's go. Before we can get to opening the game, we have to actually get the game. And to get the game, we need to know about the game. For me, I found out about the game through watching YouTube videos, watching playthroughs from Northernlion and a few others, and I don't think I was the only one. In other words, if you have an internet connection, it's definitely plausible you could find and want to get this game. Now, at the age established, you're probably not going to have much money of your own to spend freely. Any money I got was physical money anyways, so unless you have a console and happen to run into a physical copy by some miracle, that leaves you with getting your hands on a digital download. You could ask your family for it. One Isaac, please. But that would require them looking at the store page and deciding if you're mature enough to partake in the 16+ experience. It could happen, but I didn't want to bother my parents. And I didn't even know you had to buy the game. That's right, I searched up The Binding of Isaac free download and actually got it, while somehow avoiding a virus. In my defense, I didn't know this was illegal yet. Edmund seems pretty chill with piracy, and look, I bought them all now, we're good, right? As soon as you boot up the game, you are greeted with an opening where
Isaac and his mother
is trying to kill him because God told her to. Alright, that's some pretty heavy stuff and we're only 1 minute in. Religion is a theme throughout this game and it's a sensitive one for some. The two extremes I could see family reacting to this are they're not religious and don't care, or they're ultra religious and will probably ground you for the rest of your life for even thinking about playing this. The latter is probably bad, but not actually as big of a deal as it might seem for a very simple reason. They're gonna skip it all. Children don't care about story. Even if they were watching it, they're not really gonna understand anyways. As one of said children, I can confirm both of these things. There are other religious references throughout the game, but I might actually be overthinking all of this. Edmund McMillen has said that he's been thanked for making a biblically themed game from pastors, and from an outsider's view, it just looks like a game with Christian themes. That completely defeats the purpose of everything I've talked about so far. But if your family does care for whatever reason, just don't let them see you play the game, obviously. Well, time to start a run of the game. The gameplay of Isaac is extremely child-friendly to pick up. All the controls you need to know to play the game are shown to you whenever you start. The twin-stick shooter gameplay might be hard to pick up due to having two sets of directions to manipulate at the same time. Even the easiest 3D games can be quite hard for a total beginner because of trying to multitask movement and moving the camera at once. I know any slight gamer can do this without a second thought, but we're used to it. As Isaac is in 2D and the second stick isn't affecting the camera however, it's more welcoming and straightforward. This could be a child's subconscious practice for 3D games, I think, but I'm not a psychologist or whatever this study is. Now, you can definitely be a bit clumsy and click Q&E by accident while playing. Heck, I still do that to this day. But that's a minor issue in the grand scheme of things. In the Flash version, it also has button prompts next to active and consumable items just in case you forget, which is very plausible for a 5-year-old. Assuming you don't blow yourself up, the next thing you'll do is move into one of the doors, and this is where the first challenge— oh, this room is empty. Okay, now we have our first enemy encounter. Once again, figuring out what to do is pretty easy. You are being attacked by these enemies and your health lowers. The doors are locked and there is no escape, but you don't want to die. Then you remember how to attack from the previous room, so you kill them all and whoa, the doors opened. Rinse and repeat. The quick, repetitive, but also varied nature of this little gameplay loop is delicious. Can we put Isaac gameplay into TikToks already? And we haven't haven't even gotten to the best part. The items in Isaac give you a sense of progression and work together with each other to create a million different combinations. Thanks to those videos I initially watched though, I only really wanted a few items such as Brimstone because it looked cool and I would be sad when I never got it. My narrow-mindedness aside, with the rooms also changing every run, that's literally infinite content for you. I know children like to redo the same thing over and over. I would almost never beat games as a kid, but I would restart my save files over and over. Shout out to Super Mario Galaxy and Super Paper Mario for those ones. But in Isaac, that's a cool gameplay mechanic, and I don't think I was the only one who would replay things over and over. So play roguelikes, kids. Isaac is also not exactly a long game, and that's good. You can play it in any break you have and feel the satisfaction of finishing it in the same time. The original version didn't actually let you save mid-run, so if each run was too long, that would basically make this unplayable, considering that children have some time limits on how long they're allowed on computers. Shorter runs also means more attempts, which is extremely necessary because I think a lot of people forget the difficulty of the original a lot. Repentance is well balanced for the most part, but the difficulty on the main path is generally lower, even on hard. In the Flash version though, there is way less stuff, and everything is less polished too, meaning everything is just a little more unfair. Let's go over a few examples. There are less items that drastically change your gameplay, so you can get a lot of uninteresting things. I guess that could also mean it's easier to understand for a kid, but it's also more boring and more difficult. Item drops are more sparse. The amount of times I've missed an item room due to not having a key is crazy. Room layouts can be not good. Lots of cramped spaces and annoying enemy placements. This one might be a skill issue, but these projectiles just feel harder to dodge. Is it cause there's less screen space? Are the hitboxes different? I don't know. These guys can shoot at you well after you kill everyone in the room. Okay, sorry, this one just keeps getting me, I hate it. If this is one of your first video games, then you will struggle, that's for sure. I remember it taking me around 63 tries before I beat Mum for the first time. And I don't even remember if I ever beat Mum's heart. Was I seriously that bad at video games? I often forget how many enemies were added in Rebirth onwards, but the original game has a pretty good core selection. Some enemies are absolute evil for a child to kill, like the skull dudes, the brain people, and the tomato sludge, to name a few. But actually these guys are still evil even today, so never mind. And personally, I remember struggling on every enemy ever in this game back in the day, so I guess in a way they were well balanced. Bosses are, well, let's do a quick fire review on them. Monstro, easy and doable. Duke of Flies, even easier and more doable. Larry Jr., not bad, but he can trip you up for sure. Gemini, fine, but his little guy bounced into me way too many times. Famine, don't really know what to say for this guy, I don't really remember him. Fistula, this is the boss I'd hope for on every run because he's free. Gertie, I wasn't very good at this boss, so this was basically just luck. Chub, even with the bomb technique, I didn't like this guy very much. Krampus, I would barely get a devil deal in the first place, so this was just rubbing it in. Pestilence, too much bombing. Peep, this guy killed me so many times. It's not even funny how much I hated him. Greed, please stop showing up, I just want the shot please. Monstro 2, he's actually alright, but he has so much HP. The Fallen, the items he drops are good, assuming I ever get to see the items he drops. Loki, free. War, free. Mom, oh no. Anything after this I cannot review because I never got that far as a kid. And I never had the Wrath of the Lamb expansion due to aforementioned piracy, so this is what I went up against. There are characters other than Isaac. Once I unlocked Cain, I actually used him more than Isaac, and he eventually carried me to my only Mum win. I think I remember using him because he has a higher damage stat than Isaac, and damage is basically impossible to come by in the original. But we need to remember that children suck and will run into every bullet ever, so in hindsight I easily recommend Magdalene instead. None of the characters do drastic changes though, really. Well, apart from one, so I imagine a child will just choose the one that looks slightly cooler than the others. So, the gameplay of Isaac is pretty decent overall. You're much better off playing Repentance now because of the polish, adjusted difficulty, and way more interesting items. But I only had the original as a kid, and it still got me to play it for hours. Gameplay may be the biggest part of the equation, but it's not the only one. The original soundtrack is really nice. The Rebirth soundtrack, once you include all the DLCs, is also quite nice. I can see some of the music getting stuck in your head outside of the game, but it doesn't really matter. I don't see the music really changing how a child would interact with this game, unless it hurt their ears or it had swearing lyrics. Maybe. Anyways, now the graphical art style is drastically different if you're playing Rebirth, but the contents of the graphics remain largely the same. Both games appear innocent at first sight, and Rebirth especially is visually appealing to my eyes. But then you start playing the game and first looks are deceiving. I know many people who refuse to play this game just because it's weird and kinda gross, and that's completely fair. With that innocent look the games hold will get some people to ignore these things, and I think some oblivious children may be susceptible to this. For some reason, everything went over my head. These aren't tears, this isn't blood, that isn't my mother. Oh, maybe it is. I just don't remember anything bothering me. But as much as I want to say, yeah, any child can play this, not disturbing at all, my family has a different story to tell. Apparently, this game was giving me nightmares, and I was waking up at night. Do I believe them? Heck no. But I must acknowledge the possibility that maybe there is a potential chance that the Binding of Isaac video game could in fact scare a child. As a result of this though, they banned me from playing the game, which made me cry. I remember that part. So I guess the answer to could a child play the Binding of Isaac for me was, I could, but should I have? I know that the question this video is trying to answer is pretty silly, but I wanted an excuse to look at this game through a different lens than most would. I guess the final thing to do would be to get another child to play the game, but I'll leave that as an exercise to the viewer. If you found this interesting, then subscribe! I'll try to do more wacky deep dives into other games soon. This is the start of my quest to make a video on every video game I've beaten, and the next video will be on Wii Sports and Sports Resort, which isn't beatable but I've played enough of it. If I've already uploaded it, then you can watch it here. Bye now!